Today I want to show you just a quick video on not making this entire card, but just making this little tiny flower here that I've stuck onto the card. The card's a really easy one, and I'll put all of the dimensions for you on my WordPress blog site that you can make the card. But essentially it's just two cards, I guess, folded inside one another. This is rich raspberry cardstock with some designer series paper stuck on it, a bit of whisper white cardstock on a smaller inserted card, a bit to write your message, and the front here. So I will only though focus this tutorial on making this lovely little flower on the front, because it is a flower you can make using your full heart punch from Stampin' Up. So let's get started on making just the little flower here. Okay, so the first thing you'll need is some whisper white cardstock. Now, to make the petals, you'll need to punch this that I'm going to show you 4 times. Essentially, you just fold up a small section of whisper white cardstock, crease it along there, take your full heart punch and pop your creased end into the punch. Now, I've certainly seen flowers made just popping the cardstock in and leaving it straight across the 2 lobes of the heart there and punching it. To make my flower, I actually just twist it a little bit so that you can see there's more card in one side of the heart than the other. Now, it's also really important not to punch all the way through and cut that in half. You've got to leave enough there to keep those 2 halves of the flower joined together. But essentially, once it's on a bit of an angle, just punch that out, and you'll need to do that 2 times, well 4 times, sorry. I've already done it twice. I've got 2 that I prepared earlier, but I'll just show you again. I'll just do 2 now so that you can see how to do that. Just creasing it down with my bone folder, scrap bit of whisper white cardstock. Straight gives you 2 lobes of even size. This way that I'm doing it is just on an angle, gives you one a bit smaller than the other. Punch it out like that. Lovely. So essentially what you end up with is, once you've done it 4 times, is you end up with a piece of whisper white cardstock that's got a large piece up here and a small little piece down there. I'm hoping that that comes out on this white background. It's probably not the best choice of colour. Now, to match the card that I showed you that this was on, I'm using some rich raspberry ink on a little dauber. Tap it on the end, and on the larger of the 2 halves of the white paper, just take a bit of ink on your dauber and brush some colour around the edge, and then to colour it up a little bit more, just give it a few quick flicks across that surface there. Do that for both of those ones that we've just cut out, like that, and a bit across the surface. Now, that's all you need the rich raspberry for, and I'm teaming this with a little bit of certainly celery, so again, just on a dauber. On the other side, you've coloured this side with the rich raspberry, flip it over on the smaller half and just give a light flick of colour to those smaller little lobes. So again, this is the side I've done rich raspberry, flip it over, a little bit of colour onto that smaller lobe just to colour it up with a little bit of green. Okay, so that's all the colour we need. Now, what you do is you take these rich raspberry side up, fold back inwards the little bit of green that you've got there. Now, I just hold that together and give your outer leaf a bit of a pinch up so that it sort of looks a little bit like a petal. Now, you'll get to play and shape these as you put them on the card, so don't overly stress about it. Pinch that up, a little bit of a petal. Now, I'll show you the other 2 that I've created here already. So we've got 4 petals. Now, I suppose you could make it with more petals if you wanted to, but I think 4 is what seems to work best for me. So all we've got to do now is put these little petals we've created onto a bit of backing cardstock. Now, it doesn't really matter what colour you use. I'm using rich raspberry because I can, but you can stick it onto any bit of scrap because you don't get to see it. The 3/4 inch circle punch is what I use. Punch out a little circle, just like that. Now, because I put the brad in the middle to hold all the petals together, I actually find it a little bit easier to take our handheld punch and punch a hole in the middle of that 3/4 inch circle before I start placing the petals and before I put glue on it. It becomes a bit easier. That's just a hole for the brad to go through to hold all the petals together. Now I like to use Tombow glue when I'm doing these flowers because I often find that I need a little bit of extra time to play with the petals to make them sit exactly where I like them. You could use the snail, you could use sticky strip, that wouldn't be a problem. But I just like the Tombow because it gives me just a little bit of extra play time to make sure that I've got the petals exactly where I like them. So all it's a matter of doing now is placing around that circle your petals that you've made. So, and just giving them a bit of a hold down. Like I said, really, really easy to do. Pushing them close together. Oops, now it's stuck to me. And the last one in here, like that. Now you can sort of see that I've left that little hole in the middle. I don't know how well you can see that, but I've left the little punch hole that I've punched in the middle free, so that you can pop your brad. And I've just got one of these lovely little rhinestone brads from Stampin' Up. It's, I think, the larger of the brads that you can get in that kit. So just pop it through the hole that I've punched previously. And that kind of just gives your flower a nice little centre. Flip it over. Open that brad up to secure it. Just like that. Turning back around the front. And there you've got a lovely flower. Now one thing you can do is you can take your bone folder, if you like, and you can curl these little inner leaf or petals, whatever they are, back up a little bit to give it a bit of dimension. It's entirely up to you. You can just leave them flat like that, maybe colour them a different shade of purple if you wanted to, but I just like the little bit of green accent in the middle and give them a little bit of a curl because that's just what I like to sit on the top. Now you can pinch your little petals until they sit how you like them. So that's just the little flower that I made for the front of this card. So that's one that I've already made. The other thing that you can also make with your heart punch is the leaves that are also featured on this card. And I'll just quickly show you how to make one of those leaves as well, so that you know how to do that with the heart punch. So the cardstock I used on this one here was some old olive cardstock. So take a bit of scrap paper, punch yourself out a heart, just like that. Then your crimper, take your crimper, run the heart through the crimper to end up with a crimped heart. Then all I do to make the flower is to take a bit of Tombow again. Actually, first of all, I fold it in half to give myself a bit of a crease line so I know where the centre is. Take a bit of Tombow glue and just in, I guess, the centre of that heart there, put a bit of Tombow glue, fold your half back together, half parts back together, pinch the corner where you've put that Tombow glue and flatten out your heart so that you sort of have just pinched those top bits together. It's easier, I find, to lay it down and flatten it out, and then just fold that seam down like that, and then when you flip it over you've got a little tiny leaf. And as you can see on this card, I made two of them, one that way and one the other way. So very simple to do. Another way to use your full heart punch. So there you go, you've got a beautiful little flower and a leaf to decorate a card, a box, or whatever you like. So just another quick tutorial on alternate ways to use your punches. Okay, hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Thank you. Bye.